Hi everyone, I'm Ononakazi, and today I'm going to be making a presentation about Super Princess Peach and how Nintendo changed its female protagonist for the better. I'll start off with a short introduction of the game. This game was made by Nintendo and released in Japan on October 2005 and internationally in 2006. It was released for the Nintendo DS and intended for young girls with little gaming experience. The premise of this game is that Princess Peach switches roles with the Mario Bros. And must save them and stop Bowser at the same time using her emotion-based elemental powers. While this is awesome, it does have some sexist undertones. Peach having those moods as powers pushes the women are over emotional stereotype. The points I'll be covering today are Nintendo's assumptions about their target audience, what female gamers truly want, another game company's attempt, old beliefs versus new beliefs about female gamers, and what Nintendo can do and is doing to improve their future games. Now, you may be wondering why I'm talking about this. Well, the evolution of Nintendo's female characters over the years can actually be traced back to SPP. Game companies have traditionally catered to adolescent males, but games like Super Princess Peach were made in an attempt to tap into the previously untouched female gamer market. First, let's talk about Nintendo's assumptions. Some assumptions they might have made were that girls want representation in video games. And yes, everyone loves seeing people that represent them or people in their community because it makes them feel a sense of belonging. Girls want casual, easy games with clear instructions. The validity of this is questionable. It's true that a majority of females prefer casual games according to research data, but the easy part is dead wrong. Research actually shows that girls enjoy puzzle games most of all. And a third assumption is that girls are emotional. This is just a stereotype and should not be used to describe all women. Now you may be thinking, we all have emotions, so why can't Peach? Can she have emotions and be inoffensive? Yes, she can. In Super Princess Peach, Peach has emotions, but it's her main skill in the entire game, which is pretty dumb. In Mario Kart Wii, her emotions exist, but it shows at an appropriate time, which humanizes her. It also shows her personality, since she reacts in different sassy ways depending on race outcomes. But her skills in the game are actually related to racing knowledge, and her technical knowledge, rather than her emotions. My next point is what female gamers want. What do they want? Well, equality, representation, a sense of identity, respect, and most importantly, to avoid the male gaze. The male gaze is a complex term, but it basically means the tendency of female characters to be sexualized in order to be pleasing for an audience of heterosexual men. Most of these points that I just mentioned tie into feeling a connection. Male gamers always play as male protagonists, so why can't female gamers do the same without feeling sexualized or like they're an object all the time, or a side character? It is specifically for those wants of the female gamer community that some female-led games are received better than others. Tomb Raider's Lara Croft is a good example of a character that has been changed over the years because of these. Another comparison I'd like to make is the game Celeste. Compare the characterization of Madeline in Celeste to Peach's almost non-existent character exploration, despite her being the protagonist, just like Madeline is. Most of the cutscenes and dialogue in Super Princess Peach focus on Perry, the talking umbrella, rather than Peach. This leads players to believe that the true protagonist is actually the umbrella, rather than the princess who is literally the face of the game box. Celeste doesn't make this mistake because it focuses on Madeline, her emotional journey, and her physical journey up the mountain, rather than focusing on like a sidekick or something. Now I'll briefly go over past versus present assumptions on female gamers. When designing games for girls in the past, male designers often developed games based on their own tastes and cultural assumptions. This meant a lot of male bias was present. Today, things are different. Character arcs are more deeply focused on and don't play much into stereotypes. Again, Celeste is a good example of this. It was made in 2018, which is pretty recent, and there's basically no girly stereotypes in play at all. Nintendo, on the other hand, has moved backwards in some regards. Take Metroid, for example. Samus, the protagonist of Metroid, has become a sort of exception to the cool male lead that was present in most sci-fi games at the time of release. Nintendo took a step back, however, from making her a good representation of women by sexualizing her and never going back. Nintendo knows that using iconic characters and recycling their male leads always results in financial success. Peach has been used as an icon for a reward at the end of Mario games for decades, so it's really hard to change her since she's so deeply rooted in that persona that they made for her early on. Daisy is a slight improvement, but not by much, because despite being independent, she barely has any lead roles in games, usually a side character or a selectable character. Nintendo's diverse characters are never the main character unless it's customizable, which doesn't really count. So they're not really being inclusive, just accommodating, which is different. To end this video, I'm just going to go over a little summary. Games have evolved over time because of the wants of women and how it's changed society. Game companies are trying to improve, and Nintendo knows and can improve, as it's been seen in Metroid, but chooses to play it safe by recycling its male leads and using iconic characters over and over. Nintendo needs to take more risks like Super Princess Peach and improve. The more mistakes you make, the more you can learn each time. And Nintendo really needs to remember that when designing new games. Keep in mind when designing games, you're designing for people, not just the standard white heterosexual male.